Hello and welcome to Fractured Space. My name is Matilius258 and this is the huge October 2015 Frontline update. Wow, lots been added. For anybody who has not watched any of my videos before, I will first start out by reading the paper additions to the game and the new content from top to bottom, after which I will then proceed to give my opinion on the new content and how it will affect the game, and how people and me will respond to it. So, let's begin. First off, the new game mode, Frontline. Frontline is a much faster paced, much smaller, and much shorter game mode. You are restricted to one area, and each player starts off with a completely randomized ship in a relatively balanced setup of teams. This means that players will have the chance to try a new ship that they have never tried before, and also try new ships that they might not even own yet, but might want to go for after playing the game. However, this does have some drawbacks, which I will get to later. Also, Frontline is much shorter as it only lasts at a maximum of about 15 minutes. Shortest I've ever had is 7 minutes, and that was a terrible defeat I do not wish to remember. Also, once jumped into the main sector, you will have the ability to flank by jumping to other areas of the map for some more interesting tactical play and also faster gameplay and overall fun. Next is the two new ships added in the update. The first is the Xeric Overseer. A lot of people have been very excited about the Overseer. The Xeric Overseer is the Xeric line's version of a sniper ship. The entire main weapon is contained within the center body of the ship, meaning the entire ship is more or less its main weapon. That's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. It's a big gun in space. However, it does have a secondary weapon system and the ability to quickly remove itself from battle through the use of retro thrusters, which will propel you about 4,000 from a dead stop in the opposite direction that you are facing. So, backwards. It also has a shielding buoy with the same shield type as the frigate, Raider. The next ship in the line is the USR Displacer. The USR Displacer is a tactical ship, in my opinion, with a long, medium-range weapon system that does have a very nice, sustainable damage potential from the paper stats. The Displacer has the ability to move ships away or closer to the ship, depending on the circumstances, and will affect both friendlies and teammates. Friendlies and enemies. This will be useful for getting ships behind cover out of cover, and also, depending on how proficient the person is, able to get a teammate out of danger and behind cover, whether they want to or not. It has a main weapon system of a 4-shot missile-like weapon that, at its optimal range, has its greatest damage potential. Therefore, for anybody wondering, I would recommend that if you are going to use the Displacer, its maximum range is not in fact its maximum range. Its maximum range is more or less in its optimal range. So those are the two new ships. How about the crew? Well, the crew actually does something now. Before in the game, the crew did about 1% difference in how a ship would perform. However, now they can do anything between 1 to 10% difference per ship, giving ships a personalization that is up to the player and also makes them more specific to the ship in order to specialize the ship to a certain role that the player wishes to play it as. An example provided by EdgeCase Games was the Paragon, which is the name for the Xeric carrier. The Paragon that would be able to cap the points, tank, and provide frontal support for its team while advancing down a line in alpha or beta, waiting for the final push into the enemy base, while slowly accumulating resources, which I found rather counterintuitive considering I find the Carrier Paragon to be a rather terrible ship at close range where its damage potential is greatly reduced. But with the new crew ability, that could actually change and make the Carrier Paragon a much more viable ship to use, which I find quite interesting. Other than that, some other smaller changes is the legendary skins for certain ships will have a change to their both the visual effects and the audio effects of their ship. There's also a new messaging and pinging system, which allows people to quickly their entire team about a certain objective and issue orders, respectively, from F5 to F11. Defend the base, affirmative, negative, thanks, alpha, beta, gamma. Keep in mind that these button setups are actually of the default setting. However, you may have yours set up in a different way. Therefore, they will change depending on the person. Next is the Red October skin update. Therefore, you may now begin to start singing in Russian. Red October update gives all the Xeric ships a new red coat of paint, giving them a very nice look, which I do believe will be possibly quite popular with people who like the color red. They are quite nice. I'm not sure if it was a reference to Red October the movie and book, but I would like to think so. Therefore, come on, comrades. We play in red ships. Big ships. Strong ships. Yes, that just happened. Okay. Um, Other than that, there have been other few changes. The names of ships have been changed to better fit a more generic but also more personalized name for each ship, instead of the ultra-specific naming that was given to the USR ships, especially. The USR Sniper has been changed to the USR Watchman. The USR Flagship has been changed to the Colossus, which also means that my way of using the term presence ship gets back to Flagship, which will be nice. The Xeric Carrier is now the Xeric Paragon, which is interesting. The USR Ghost has been changed. The USR Assassin has been changed to the USR Ghost. Sorry. The Titan Corvette is now the Titan Protector, which, again, it still looks like a flying space booger. The Xeric Frigate is now the Xeric Raider, which I think is a very apt description and naming convention for the frigate. There's a Red October skin, by the way. Other smaller changes apply to other very select ships. The Xeric Hunter has had its armor profile on the sides diminished. The Sentinel of the Titans have had multiple changes. The Equalizer has had some visual effects changed. The Raven has had audio effects changed. The Reaper has had a change to its shield material, making it supposedly more visible to other players. So, that's it for the paper stats. Everything else is general bug fixing and other such things. If you wish to look over the patch notes, the full patch notes, by the way, of the entire Frontline update, I will be posting the link in the description. So, this is the part of the video where I go over what I think about the update and how people respond to it. So, going down the list and starting with probably the most important new addition of content to the game is, of course, the Frontline Battle mode. Now, I want to point and get it out. and make it very clear at the very beginning of all this that I, in fact, like the new game mode. It is very good. It is very simply, and it's quite simply just fun. That's it. It's fun, which in a game is something it needs to be. Fun. It's short. It's to the point. You will, in the case of, say, a daily double situation where you log in every day to get the experience for your ship, it's quicker, much, much quicker than the old games, which could last anywhere between half an hour to a full hour, lasting only 15 minutes, so it's much, much quicker. Depending on the ship that you are randomly assigned, your performance will vary. However, it is still extremely possible to get at least... It's still possible to get 3,000 XP in a single game. So a decent game, more or less. However, I do have some quips with the Frontline Battle mode. It is fun, yes. It is very straightforward, yes. It's very helpful in the case of getting a daily double and the experience you need for that certain ship that you got randomly placed in at the beginning of the game. Except that's where I kind of have a problem with it. First off, it's a random application of ships at the beginning of the game, which, while I understand, as it's kind of a balancing factor in this very closer knit playing field, while that makes sense to me, and I can see its application values, it does, however, make it rather annoying for players that have never played the ship before, do not like the ship, and or may not even own the ship. Plus, depending on how the tech tree and researching aspect will be implemented by the time the game is fully released, it could in fact become an extreme handicap to anybody trying to get the next ship for that small amount of XP, but can't due to the fact that they are being randomly given a ship in a completely different tech tree line. I'm trying to get the Leviathan, for example, but I keep getting USR ships and Xeric ships. See my problem? However, there is one thing that I do quite like about this randomization. And some bonus towards the if you don't own the ship, you don't play with the ship. Wait, no. If you don't own the ship, you can still randomly get the ship. While I like that idea, and it presents kind of a sampling opportunity for the player to use, at the same time, I kind of disagree with it. Especially with how, first, the researching, but second, the crew thing. Because the crew actually does make a difference to your ship, if you're randomly assigned a ship that you don't own, don't use, don't like, and you have a crew for it, or you don't have a crew for it, I don't know what kind of crew is actually assigned to the ship, which I think is a problem. Second, if you're given a random ship, and it's a ship that you've never played before, you don't like, or have, I don't know, maybe you're extremely new, have never even heard of, then it's entirely possible that instead of actually playing the game and having fun, which I think is the main purpose of Frontline, to be a fast, fun game mode, you are instead having to spend time looking at just how to actually play the ship and, not die, instead of actually killing, doing damage, capturing, and contributing to your team in order to win the game. So people, I think, would be rather annoyed every time they're given a range that they don't like or have never played before. And instead of having fun in this game mode, they'll just be annoyed to the fact that they can't use the ship they were given. And especially if it's a ship they don't even own, which I think is where I have the biggest quirk with this randomization. If you're given a ship that you don't even own, it means you probably didn't want to get it in the first place, or you just aren't in that tech tree yet. So already it's a ship you know nothing about, and it's already a ship that, again, back to that crew problem, might have a crew that's either randomized or designed for a completely different ship. Try getting a try to use, because I can say this now, try to use a crew that is built around the Colossus, which is designed for pure defense, instead being used for something like the Ghost, where being hit is already a problem. Other than that, I still like the Frontline. It's fast, it's fun, it's simple, it's short. That's all it is. If you're looking for anything more than that, I think you're in the wrong place. If you're looking for something more than that, you go back to the old game mode where you had to play much longer, much more tactically, much more relying on your teammates and teamwork and all of that. The new ships. The new ships I like, is what I want to say. I haven't used the new ships. I've been trying to use the new ships. The only time I've been able to use the new ships is when I was going around in the front line before the game started, using the ship and seeing what I could do with it. It's just, I find that annoying too about the front line. I like how they're pushing it. They're like trying to get everybody to try it and give their opinion, as it's a game in development. It's just the other two things that they had introduced into the game I haven't been able to use, and I can't, look at them and say, "This is a good ship." So, so the Overseer, it's just another sniper ship, I guess. I don't know. Um, it has an annoying little laser pointer kind of thing while the gun charges up, so that will give you some time and some indication that you might be aimed at. It also is a instant hit shot, so you don't have to lead, unlike with the Watchman slash sniper of the USR, which is nice, but also quite interesting. Um, Again, I have no idea what damage potential is. I have no idea its in-game effectiveness in the old game style. Um, Having been shot by one, I think once, and rather poorly, in the frontline mode, I don't know its total danger value either. Also, because it's a sustained fire type long range weapon, it doesn't rely on that alpha damage that the USR has, so I'm not sure how sustainable its damage potential actually is. Its close range weapon system looks rather useless. Plus, since it's a ship that has such little health, I don't think there's a point of trying to use it all that much. However, it is fun to use. I should have a video playing. The way it moves around when you're using the gun focusing utility ability of the ship definitely makes it feel like it's flying around kind of like a plane. Plus, depending on how proficient you are in flying it, you can use it to make interesting shots using cover. Um, However, I don't see it being a practical use. I do see it being a fun use for the Overseer, so of course I'll try it eventually. Um, so I think the Overseer presents an interesting opportunity for players. One, to rage a little more because the enemy team is a sniper again. Second, an interesting new way to play the Overseer. To play a sniper ship, and the ability to have fun with a sniper ship at a closer range that, while not effective or probably not going to make you very popular on your team, will most certainly add up for some fun times. But other than that, not sure what the Overseer actually represents yet. The Overseer. The Overseer? No, the Displacer. Again, as I said, I haven't played the Displacer. I've only kind of had the effects of the Displacer placed on me. Its displacing ability, while annoying, I haven't found to be that detrimental at the moment. Um, I guess because it's in its mainline form where cover isn't really all that common so much, and due to the extremely crowded nature of the center, its cover removal system that the Displacer kind of merits is more or less moving enemy ships from cover to cover against their will, but still moving them from one place of cover to the next place of cover. So that's nice. When it comes to moving friendly teammates, I have not seen that happen yet. I think that's that tactical play that the Displacer will have to use in conjunction with somebody that they're directly playing with. Something that happens rather rarely. So, yeah. I see it being a very popular ship, actually. Maybe in team-based battles where it's a team that's talking to each member, like over comms. I can see it being a used ship. However, as a soloer ship, I don't see it being that useful. It only it seems to only work as a disruption type ship, which in the all likelihood is your team will probably not be able to take advantage of it. And I have a feeling that if you try rocketing one of your teammates into the foray ahead against their will or their consent, they will most likely be very, very annoyed at you because there's a likelihood that they'll take a lot of damage or even die. So it can be easily misinterpreted and seen as sacrificing your own teammates in your suicide mission. So, not sure how the Displacer will factor in. The crews. The crews I like. The crews are amazing. This is a great idea. It's something I've waited for a while since playing since starting Fractured Space. By being able to customize the crew per ship, you make the ship, one, more personalized to yourself, and give the ship its playstyle that you yourself can adapt and actually use. I just see bonuses from this. It also means that anybody going against another player will have to know more than just what the ship can do on paper, but the player also has to factor in what kind of playstyle and crew will the enemy be using in that one ship. And since every ship will have a different crew, then the guessing game and consideration for what the other person is thinking will be a little more interesting. So I can see a Colossus versus a Colossus in a 1-in-1, each person starting at the exact same time, both having full health, the same upgrade, everything the same, but having a different crew. I can definitely see how that would just make a little bit of an extra difference. So it's a small thing, but I like it. So yeah, all I can see is good. The only thing that I see are the naming conventions, which more or less just make the ships a different name. That's about it, actually. It's nice, however. Flagship changed to Colossus, I think, is going to be quite useful. One of the terms that I always use in my videos is a presence ship. And the only reason I had to use presence ship was because, one, they were a presence in the lane, but at the same time, I couldn't use flagship because flagship was taken. So, yeah. Plus, I think having flagship being the first ship in the USR Tech tree was not a good idea because flagship says magnum opus of space engineering per race faction tech tree to me. So having a flagship as your first starting ship was kind of counterintuitive. That was the new Frontline update. Lots of new stuff added, lots of new ships added, naming conventions, the crew, which I guess exponentially increases the amount of ships, because each ship will be slightly different role. Be interesting. Yeah, I cannot wait until they give us back the old game mode, so we can choose between Frontline and the old game mode, depending on what we feel like. Other than that, I quite like this update. It needs some fine tuning in case of the new game mode and stuff, and I'm not sure what the new ships will be like and how their balancing will affect everything. But until then, everything's good. So yeah, thank you for watching. Please leave your comments about what you think about the ships yourself and the new game mode below. I hope to shoot you soon. Have fun playing. Have a nice day.